6 months ago, this was just empty land. No trees, no water, just an idea. And now everything around me is alive. Just 6 months later. I didn't come here just to grow food. I came here to develop a land that actually brings back life. To build a farm where people can eat healthy food, where people can get inspired and see what is really possible if we actually work together with nature. And here, on this land, is where we try to do that. But let's take you back to the start.
So, this is the land as we found it. Overgrown, quiet and untouched for years, with 3 old fig trees that were already here, along with a few smaller fruit trees. Standing here back then, I could already imagine what this place might become. But to be honest, walking across such a bare landscape in late summer also made me question things. At least I made the decision, and I kept the hope of turning this place into a paradise one day. I would rather have a blank canvas, starting with nothing on the land, to show what is really possible if we work together with nature. This is where it really started. I flew my drone over the land, printed the landscape, and began sketching my ideas on paper. Not to create a perfect plan, but to understand the land, its shape, its limits, and its possibilities. I studied the elevation of the land, how water moves, the wind blows, the sun shines, all to make the right decisions for the long term. But it quickly became clear that we couldn't do this alone. And since water is our most important resource, we were looking for someone with expertise in irrigation and water retention. That's when Adam came in. While at the same time, we started visiting local farmers, searching for the manure needed to prepare the tree lines. While also visiting nurseries to find the right trees, finding more than 30 different species spread across multiple places turned out to be quite a mission. After making up our plans, we had to build 2 irrigation houses with no existing infrastructure. That meant laying entirely new foundations. Luckily, Nelson came to help us out. The main reason we're digging trenches is to properly install the irrigation system. We want all the pipes safely on the ground, protected from the intense sun, temperature changes, and physical damage. By burying them, the system lasts longer, works more reliably, and stays out of the way as the forest grows. From that moment on, everything started to feel real, and there was no way of going back. We divided the land into 12 different irrigation zones, all with their specific program based on their needs. The days were long, the work was physical, and it stayed 30 degrees in October. At this moment, the land looked like a big mess, with all the trenches now being open. And at this point, I started questioning myself. Is this all too much work? But despite the doubts, I kept on going. We were blessed by the help of Adam, installing the complete irrigation system and making sure all pumps were working correctly, wiring the electro valves, and together drilling all the holes in the right places. Slowly, the irrigation houses begin to take shape, connecting all pipes, pressure tanks, filters, and electricity. We were building the walls, making sure everything stayed dry, just as the first rains were about to arrive. At this point, we were usually with 5 to 6 people working on the land. We needed at least 30 cubic meter of compost and manure in order to give the right amount we needed. Both very important resources to feed the soil and trees in their first stage. One crucial step was marking all the tree lines at their exact coordinates across the land, with wooden sticks by putting yellow flags on them. We wanted to have 3 meter spacing between each tree line and 5 meters between each producing fruit or nut tree, so that we have the right spaces to grow. It was quite some work, but we wanted it to be precisely. This was the first time it became visible where the tree lines would be planted, but it was hard to look through the bare and overgrown landscape. To decompact the soil, every single line had to be clearly marked for the machine to break the soil open up to 1 meter deep. Most parts of the soil were compacted, leaving little space for air, water and roots to penetrate. We started ripping the lines, just before the rains arrived, to minimize the damage we made. This was the moment the land started to take shape. We planned the tree lines along the contour of the landscape, to minimize water runoff and prevent erosion. And to be honest, it also looks way cooler. By opening it up, we give the roots a chance to grow deeper and water a place to infiltrate. You directly see the impact it has on the soil. We kept on going, guiding the machine exactly over the flags Chris and I marked. But not everything went smooth. While opening up the soil in front of the house, we forgot something important. There were still other pipes connected underground. We have both the water pipe and the sewage, and that mistake cost us an extra day to fix. But at least we were very happy with how the land looked like at this moment. It was a big step forward, because from now on you could really see the lines we were planning to plant. Now it was time to put a layer of manure and compost. Another milestone was seeing the first water flown into the irrigation tank. Right on time, just before 8,000 trees and plants arrived. At this moment, seeing all these trees and plants, it became clear how big the project actually was. So before planting, we added a layer of compost and manure in the lines, all by ourselves, which were about 400 wheelbarrows in total.
We are not trying to control nature here. We are trying to work with it. So instead of planting a tree one by one, we plant a system that works together. Layers of plants and trees, each with their own role. Some grow fast, others go slow, but they all grow into one direction. Instead of maintaining a system, we try to learn how to manage itself, from exposed soil towards a living ecosystem.
After weeks of digging, laying pipes and all the preparation needed, it was finally time to plant my very first tree on this land. And I couldn't be more happy. We kept planting, measuring distances, making sure everything went in the right place in the right order. Starting planting higher trees, then the lower trees, then shrubs, and latest the ground cover to finish the line. Seeing the first complete line made me feel happy and motivated to continue. As just 30 meters were planted, we still had 770 meters to go. The feeling of knowing that everything starts growing once you plant it was really fulfilling. At this time, the land slowly started to become more green. I found myself watering almost every day, while temperatures were still 30 degrees, and I couldn't risk losing any of them.
So at that point, we were really not sure if we were all going to make it in time. And then, out of nowhere, I got a call from a friend that was giving a course with a group of 15 people and asked if he could come over and help. So 3 days later, they arrived And from that moment on, everything changed.
So the day started by explaining the design, to make sure everyone understood why we were planting in this specific order. We went out with everyone, lots of measurement sticks and thousands of trees and plants to be planted in the field. It was a great feeling, seeing everyone so motivated to help to plant the system together as a team. By the end of a long day, we had planted 8 out of the 10 lines on the entire field, something that would have taken us much longer on our own. I couldn't be more happy with the help of Mark and his students. It was crazy to see the progress we made. Not long after, the wood chips arrived, that were essential for preventing weeds and grasses from coming through and to feed microbial life in the soil. We laid down a thick layer on both sides of every tree line. Although the work looks easy, we've put at least 10 cubic meters of wood chips on the lines, filling all the trailers with shovels together with Chris. Suddenly, the lines became clearly visible, and it felt more complete in a way. Now that more rain was falling, it was time to seed grasses and cover crops between the tree lines. I did this to increase the amount of mulch, the amount of nitrogen in the soil, and to attract more pollinators that benefit the whole system. Slowly, the land began to turn green. In December, the fruit trees arrived, which were the last ones to plant. At this moment, I was on my own, finishing what I once started. Taking out the last flags, planting the last fruit trees was the final step. And slowly, everything that happened started landing in me. What was once a bare landscape, what was once a dream, became to life. And I realized that the dream I once had became reality.
6 months ago, this was just an idea. Now it started to become real. And we are one step closer to creating that paradise. And this is just the beginning.